On the night of December 20th, 1980, Jean Hilliard, who was 19 years old, after spending a few hours with friends, was driving back home from town when her car hit a ditch and got stuck due to the extremely cold weather. Hilliard knew a man named Wally Nelson, who was then the best friend of her boyfriend Paul. So, she started walking towards his home, which is 2 miles away. The temperature that night was below -20 degrees, and she was wearing cowboy boots. After walking 2 miles, she finally saw her friend's house through the trees around 1 a.m., but she tripped and fell. She then crawled on her hands and knees toward her friend's door. However, her body became so ineffective in the cold that she collapsed 15 meters away from the door. The next morning, around 7 a.m., the temperature had already dropped to -30 degrees. Wally finally found Hilliard, who had been exposed to extreme cold for 6 hours, frozen stiff. He dragged her to the porch. Initially, Wally thought she was dead, but when he saw something like bubbles coming out of her nose, he realized she was still alive and rushed her to Foston Hospital, about 10 minutes away from Lengby. The doctors at Foston Hospital had little hope for Hilliard.
They didn't really think I was even alive.
They couldn't even attach a serum to her frozen arm. The needle kept breaking.
When they were able to get my jeans off, and once my tissue started to warm up, I was black from the waist down. And when your tissue turns black like that, that usually is, there's no coming back. So they told my parents and my family that they didn't think I'd make it, and but if I did, that I'd lose both my legs for sure.
Her pulse slowed to about 12 beats per minute. They largely thought she was already dead, but they decided to try warming her with heating pads.
But even at the hospital, I think just that I was, hometown gal and they knew me, they weren't gonna give up on me.
By midday, Hilliard woke up in pain, and by noon, she regained consciousness. After 49 days of treatment, she left the hospital without losing a finger, without any permanent damage to her brain or body. Her recovery was defined as a miracle.
People, even after all this all this time, people still find me. People find me and they're still talking about it, which I think is good.